This week on the YA Rebels, we're talking about the book that changed everything. I had a really hard time wrapping my head around this subject. And I kept thinking back, is there a book? Was there a specific book that did it for me? And then I had to ask myself, what is it? What was the thing? What did it change? It wasn't a book.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
I guess we're pinpointing what made us want to write, and if there was a book that did that. And I don't think I have one of those, and I'll tell you why. Oh, maybe I have a lot of them, and it's just lots of things. But what I wish I could say, I truly wish that I could say that I had something wholesome to show you. Like that reading Beverly Cleary's The Mouse and the Motorcycle really, really made me a fan of reading. Or that Roald Dahl really, tweaked my gears or something, which Roald Dahl is awesome. Obviously, Beverly Cleary is awesome. They're great. I was a ravenous reader before I even hit kindergarten. My mom had me reading from a very young age. That's because it was just a huge thing for her. She reads every day. She reads a book a day. And she has ever since I, can remember. But that said, I really don't credit childhood reading as the impetus for my writing, because I didn't start out writing, for children or for young adults. I started writing out for adults. And frankly, I'm not sure it's even appropriate for adults, what I've written. So when I had to look at what changed that thing, what changed something about me to make me want to write, I had to pinpoint what was it in that first book that I wrote, which was an adult book, an urban fantasy book, which is barely an urban fantasy. Mostly it's a comedy that's really dark and very dirty, and it's not appropriate for anybody. And what I found out was that there were certain things that have happened over my life and certain moments that have really flavored it. And they were, in fact, book-related. When I was on tour for my second adult book, I did an event with a group of authors down in LA. And a friend of mine from high school showed up, a friend I hadn't seen in years. And he came up and pretty much just, put it out there that knowing me in high school had a really huge impact on his life, and which sounded weird. That sounded crazy. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? How is that even possible? I never thought of myself as being someone that anyone would look up to, particularly in high school. I was not the most pleasant kid. But I think I am very much like I was in high school at this point, because I'm completely immature. But at the same time, I say whatever the hell I want. And that was what stuck with him. Was that I said whatever the hell I wanted. I was irreverent and didn't give a shit. That's what I think is the impetus. That's the piece that tells me that I think I can write. That I know I can write. That's that piece that tells me I know. And I think that comes from two different places. And we'll do two different books, actually. The first book is one that I read in the 3rd grade. I picked up a copy of my mother's Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex, But Were Afraid to Ask. This book is full of material that is not appropriate for children who haven't even thought about having sex. Because 3rd grade, it's too young. It's too young. And I read that thing cover to cover. It was, astonishing. I was like, what? People do these things? And there, it has some kinky stuff and it has weird things. It's not appropriate. Don't go out and read it. Unless you have absolutely no connection to, another human being who would probably tell you all these things anyway on a playground. I'm just saying. I think this gets back to that whole overprotection thing. We all know this shit by the time we even hit middle school. Everyone's talking about it. Whatever. But back then, no one did. It was like a miracle of science. It was like, seriously, I had come to the playground with new insights about adulthood, and everyone was like, what? My parents don't do that. That's disgusting. It is disgusting. And awesome. The second book that really kind of cemented it for me, because by this point I was completely warped, right? And by the time I got to high school, I started hanging out with some friends who were interested in weird experiences and kind of seeking them out, and we found a director, a film director that really did it for us. And that guy is John Waters. This is Crackpot, The Obsession. He's crazy. He's crazy and hilarious and doesn't give a crap. It was like this one person who was doing something out there that I felt like I could do. And here's another book, and this one is great. It's called Shock Value, a tasteful book about bad taste. And if anything, this is the book. Maybe this is it. This is the book that changed everything. Don't read it. Don't read it. If you read this book, you will think that I'm completely insane, and you'd be right. But his premise is that the purpose of art is to shock people. And not just to shock them for shocking's sake. I mean, it is. I mean, in some instances, it's that. But it's to shock and to make them think. And that's kind of what I'm about when I do the writing. And so I guess that's it. I guess we found my book. I need a pencil mustache. I can't pull it off without the pencil mustache.